All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining us for today's Harvest of the Month Taste Test webinar. We're excited to come together for a very quick 30-minute webinar to really explore creative and practical ways that we could introduce the seasonal, locally grown foods to students through taste test. And so whether you're a food service director, an educator, a farmer, or a local food champion, your role is really vital in helping kids build the healthy habits and connect with where their food comes from. So today we'll walk through some of the benefits of the taste test, and then also share strategies for planning and implementation, and highlight some real examples that really show the work that can be done, whether you're in a classroom or cafeteria. And we'll also provide some resources for you to get started or to take your program to the next level. If you have questions throughout the presentation, feel free to use the Q&A and we'll try to monitor that throughout. You can also drop questions or comments in the chat as well. So now I'm pleased to introduce today's presenter, Anna Holloway. Anna is our Farm to School Value Chain Coordinator for the Indiana Department of Health, along with the Indiana Grown for Schools Network, and is just a passionate advocate for connecting students to local agriculture. Her work focuses on building sustainable, impactful programs that make local food not only accessible, but really exciting for kids. So Anna will guide us through today's session. So please feel free to ask questions, take notes, join the conversation. And with that, I will hand it over to Anna. Oh, Anna, I think it might be muted.
All
There we
right,
go.
let's try that again. Thanks, Brianna.
Yeah.
I'll apologize off the bat. I'm a little under the weather today, but I have a bunch of cough drops unwrapped lined up in front of me, so I could just keep popping them in my mouth as I'm talking to you guys. Thanks again for joining. As Brianna said, I'm the value chain coordinator for Indiana Farm to Schools. My background is as a food service director. I was a food service director for a little over 10 years, as well as a farm to school coordinator for a rural K through 12 school out in Montana. And we're doing farm to school for about the last 10 years. So I'm hoping to bring a little bit of my knowledge, and also very excited to learn what some of you guys are doing as well. So today we're going to talk about taste tests, how we might be able to pull those off. Start off with when and where to have a taste test. Suggestion really is you can have a taste test whenever you want. We have a couple events that happen throughout the year. So if you're just going to be able to participate in those events like Food Day or Apple Crunch, or even a Harvest of the Month, you can do taste tests for those two events, so twice a year. But if you're doing them it would be really great to be able to do them on a regular schedule. Kind of builds up excitement for the students to know, today's a taste test day. It's Taste Test Tuesday this month, something along those lines. So a regular schedule is a great way to highlight Harvest of the Month products. Where to have a taste test? Well, the most common is obviously in the cafeteria, but also the classroom is a great way or a great location to hold taste tests as well and partnering with teachers. It also provides an opportunity to purchase local products that are not going to be served to the entire school. So if budget is a little bit of a constraint for you, then working with individual classrooms on taste tests is great. And you just rotate from classroom to classroom each month and you're purchasing for 35 students instead of 3,000 students. There are some other really creative places that I've done taste tests in the past. So just something to think about as you continue with your farm to school kind of momentum in your schools. We've done them at parent teacher nights to get the parents involved and let them know what's happening in the school, as well as at some sporting events. We've run taste tests out of our concession stand at sporting events, which is really great. And if your community is small or if your community is just invested, then some other locations you might want to think about is attending a farmer's market one day and highlighting your school program and offering a taste test there at the farmer's market. We even did one once at a local grocery store. So it was a small town. I will say a small town about 850. And so we did partner with our grocery store quite a bit. Some helpful tips for running a successful taste test. Involving students is probably the number one. Peer pressure is always a great way to get students involved in something. You could bring down some high school football players to the elementary to kind of help serve taste test, encouraging younger kids, something along those lines. Honor society, sports athletes, anything along those lines. Recruiting volunteers, if your school allows outside volunteers, I think parents and other outside groups are great to bring in. If they don't, Then how about some coaches or principals or superintendents to be a part of those taste test events that you're going on? And then we talked about the regular schedule, so I won't go on so much with that. Appropriate recipes is kind of given. You can gear those recipes towards the age groups that you're working with, as well as just what you have available for you that's going to work with you. Another great source of funding for taste tests is the fresh fruit and vegetable program. If your school is taking part in that program, you can use those funds to purchase fruits and vegetables, as in the name, to use for your taste tests as well. That works great typically for apples, being able to purchase a variety of apples and letting them taste each of the different apples and voting on which is their favorite. There's a great story of a school down in Kentucky that I learned about recently, and they use their fresh fruits and vegetable funding in a very creative way. They visit a farm, and each student goes home with a vegetable from the farm, and that vegetable is paid for with their fresh fruit and vegetable fund. Now, it only pays for that food, and so the farmer is getting paid for their product, which is great because we want to pay the farmers, but they have to come up with different funding to fund the bus rides back and forth, which I think they tend to do with grants. But I thought that was a really creative use of their fresh fruit and vegetable produce funds to get involved with farms. Using local ingredients as much is very encouraged, obviously, but we're not deaf to what's happening in society and with the loss of funds for schools. So we encourage it when it's available. And I think it might surprise you if you're purchasing more seasonally and using that seasonal calendar, you'll find that a lot of local products are cheaper. A lot of seasonal products are going to be cheaper locally than they will be from your broadline distributor if they're in that season. And then advertise, something I say on pretty much any webinar that I host or attend. Let everyone know what's going on in your school. Advertise to the students, advertise to the district, to the school board, to the community. Just advertise, because you're going to find people in the community and within the school that are going to want to be a part of the programs that you're doing there. Sending home recipes is another great way to get parents involved, a really easy task to do, print and send. And then I really like this last one. Don't yuck my yum. We have a rule at my house where you don't yuck my yum. And so no matter what you're eating or tasting, if you don't like it, that's fine, but we don't need to hear about it. So we don't need the kids to peer pressure the other kids by saying, ooh, yuck, and then we scare away from even being willing to taste something. So don't yuck my yum is a great rule of thumb for taste tests. Now, when you do the taste test, this is part of kind of advertising the taste test itself as it's being done. This is a picture of a taste test that is already completed. So a visual count tally. And what it looks like they've done here is they've had 3 columns: loved it, liked it, tried it. You can change those words to suit something that you think might work better if you have one. And they just use stickers. So students would taste the item, go up and place their sticker where they would like to see it on the chart. So you could use stickers, markers, bingo daubers, anything along those lines. And then they tallied and showed the tally for the students to see what the final vote was on that sweet beet salad that they tested. Something that I suggest as well is including on these charts emojis to kind of identify loved it, liked it, and tried it. And this is great for your ESL students or your younger kids that aren't quite reading yet. They can still be able to vote based on the emoji. And this slide gives a great example of what I'm talking about with the smiley face, straight face, and sad face. And they change their words around to just say good, okay, and thank you. This is another way of voting, which is ballot boxes. You can use, I've seen beans, poker chips, anything along those lines. A really great one for the younger kids is stickers. And so you give them a sticker and they peel the back off of the sticker and they put the back into the voting container, and then they get to keep the sticker themselves. So they're walking away with something that they tried, and they're also, you guys are getting something to use to vote without having to buy something else for it. So another great way, it's not visual. So this is a great way if you're scared kids are going to vote along with the other kids, and maybe just say they like something even if they didn't, because the majority of students like them. This way they don't quite see what the results are going to be until after the complete thing is tallied. And then for older kids, a nice up-to-date way of doing a taste test is with a QR code. something that can be printed and put on the tables at the school. The kids are going to be on their phones anyways. They're carrying them around everywhere, or maybe not this year. I think I heard something about rules changing, but I'm not sure if they can have them at lunch. But if they can, a QR code is a great way to get feedback from your older students. And then one last option that I wanted to just kind of point out is if you're doing some stuff in a classroom with younger kids, you could go straight with emoji faces and have them circle it. And then this other one down at the bottom, we always called it a thumb thermometer. And it's just a great way with a small group of students that you have them raise their hand, tried it, liked it, loved it. And then the teacher would keep those tallies and report the results back to you. What do you do with the results once you have them? There's a lot of great things that you can do with results. If you're already partnering with a classroom teacher or you have a farm to school program that you offer at your schools, you can take those results and turn them into a curriculum lesson. They can talk about statistics, graphing, percentages, the different graphs, have the students graph, that sort of thing. Also, if you got good feedback, hold on, I need some water for a second. All right, if you got some good feedback from your taste test and the products that you were testing, and you have a garden, or you work with a farmer or would like to work with a farmer and you know, wow, this went really well. Let's grow this in our garden next year. Or let's find a farmer that can grow this for us and we can work this recipe into our regular recipe cycle. And then with the recipe development, I always want to encourage as well, don't be discouraged if you didn't get the results you wanted. When we tested recipes with the school, we decided on a percentage that we were comfortable with. And for us, it was 80%. So we wanted 80% of the students to like our recipe. And if they or loved our recipe, not liked it, we wanted 80% of the students to love our recipe. And if we got that, it was great. Then we could work that recipe into our normal cycle. If we didn't, don't give up. Don't throw the fails away. Go back to the drawing board and work on it. Get some feedback from some of those older students and go back and change that recipe a little bit and try again. We had one recipe, I think we tried 4 times before we got it to be successful, and it was successful, and then we were able to put it into that cycle. So don't give up on the recipe, just tweak it a little bit and see how you can change it so that the students would like to see it on the menu on a regular basis. And then we're coming to an end. I talked fast. A couple resources I wanted to share with you. I'm currently working on a taste test guide for Indiana Grown for Schools, but it's not yet quite complete. But I wanted to share 2 great resources that already exist out there. The top one is the USDA taste test guide, and that is great for K through 12. I don't think I can click on it. Can I? Let's see. Oh, maybe I can. Because I wanted to show you something on this website. If you're doing taste tests, this website offers free posters and stickers. So you can go on this website and order. There is a max. I think you get 4 rolls of stickers, but it's all free. Sent to you, like, I think we did it and we got them like 3 days later. So these are great free things that come from the USDA that you can use in your taste test program. And then the other one, the second one, is just a 1-pager, which is geared towards farm to ECE. And this one will guide some ECEs on some different ways that you might be able to do some taste tests, because it will be a little bit different than K through 12, not necessarily, but if you work with ECEs, you know what I'm talking about. So we won't go into too much depth on that. And I think that is all we have for now.